I realized it is not an easy ride. It is full of fun. It is a roller coaster ride, full of ups and downs. And especially when your work is not getting recognized, but still you have to be consistent. And when the world is chasing numbers, I'm chasing wisdom. A boy from small town can create wonders. That is what I constantly hear from myself, and that keeps me pushing forward. And I'm continuously thinking about different ways of doing things. How can I be better, and how can I make this world a better place to live? We are the first generation graduates as well as postgraduates. When I say we, me along with my three elder siblings and all. So we have to figure it out ourselves.
Heard that it started in a traffic jam. So take us back to that car ride when a mentor told you to stop wasting your commute. Did the Naveen sitting in that traffic jam have any sense that what was the story there?
Yeah, in fact, it was just better utilization of time. And during my, I still remember, I don't remember the date exactly, but it was way back in 2007 8 time frame, where I was heading to Novotel in Hyderabad along with a senior colleague of mine, Mr. Sham Choravudi. And that guy has opened Apple Podcast for the first time. I think it was in 2008 9, if I remember. I think, yeah, after iPhone 3G was launched. And I asked him, I was very curious, what is this app all about? And he was listening to a podcast, what great leaders do, if I remember correctly. And one day will come wherein whoever is throwing all these comments, they will proudly say, Naveen is my friend, Naveen is my relative, Naveen is my junior, Naveen is my senior. Mark my words. But out of 725 people plus that I interviewed, I got funding from three people. One person sent me $25, one person sent me $50, and one person sent me $100.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to a truly special episode of The Guiding Voice. Whether you're listening to this as a podcast or watching us on YouTube, today is going to be different. This is a historic episode of The Guiding Voice. If you are a regular of TGV, you know that we have trivia for the end of the show. But today, the format shifts. The trivia comes first. And before I bring on our special guest today, I want you to understand the magnitude of the voice you are about to hear. We are talking about the world's only hexalingual podcaster, streaming in six languages: English, Telugu, Hindi, Kannada, Marathi, and Gujarati. A man who has produced over 1,000 episodes combined, someone who has hosted guests from 85 countries, ranging from a 9-year-old child to a 90-year-old film director. He is the only Indian podcaster featured at the National Publicity Summit alongside some great American legends. A TEDx speaker, a 3-time author, and a leader who actually learned sentences in new languages just to welcome his guests in their mother tongue. Now, he usually asks the questions, but today he answers them. Please welcome the man behind the mic and the guiding voice, Naveen Samala, on this special 700th episode. Yes, you heard me right, 700th. Hi, Naveen, and welcome to your show, The Guiding Voice. For 700 episodes, you have been the one asking questions, holding the space for stories across ages, professions, countries, and languages. But today, it is your turn. How do you feel?
I'm super excited about two things. First one, 700th episode itself, and you having on my show and taking my seat is something truly, truly rewarding. And I'm going to love this for sure. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Naveen. Like I told you a little while ago, this I have manifested this. I've always wanted to interview you on a a landmark episode, and when you asked me, I just jumped. I didn't even think. So first of all, thank you for that. So let me ask you
Most
the
welcome.
first question for today. When you sit quietly with yourself, not as a host, not as a podcaster, but just as Naveen, how is the man sitting here for episode 700 different from the man who sat down for episode 1? What are some of the things you had to unlearn to get here?
Yeah. So I thought podcasting journey would be smooth sail, but fast forward 5.5 years, I realized it is not an easy ride. It is full of fun. It is a roller coaster ride, full of ups and downs. And especially when your work is not getting recognized, but still you have to be consistent. And when the world is chasing numbers, I'm chasing wisdom, right? So when it comes to unlearning
Wow.
things, it when it comes to unlearning things, most importantly, listening is something which I have embraced, which means I've unlearned more of talking and understanding somebody else's perspective. And also I have unlearned not to be too rigid and to be very flexible. And I've unlearned many other things in terms of not being so adamant at times, not being so arrogant. And there are so many things that have happened in the last 5.5 years. And I see a different version of Naveen before versus after TGV.
Oh my gosh. And now I feel like I have to talk to your children and your wife because I'm sure they got the better version of Naveen now with all the skills that you have learned.
Absolutely. Only complaint is like
Yeah.
I'm spending more time on TGV building one language after the another. However, they have been extremely supportive and they are my continuous cheerleaders. And I'm so blessed to have a family like that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I want to start with something playful. Over the years, your guests have answered questions like this on your show. Today, the tables turn. I will just say a few words to you, and I want you to share the very first thing that comes to your mind. No overthinking, no filtering. Is that
Sure.
okay?
Absolutely fine.
Okay. Curiosity.
Curiosity. It is the fuel that drives me.
Okay. Comfort.
Step out of it.
Because you always say that discomfort is what is needed for growth. So I wanted to ask you the opposite. So good, great answer. Success.
It changes from time to time. The definition
Okay.
changes from time to time.
Validation. Okay. Validation.
You don't have to validate with anybody. As long as you have that conviction, go ahead.
Okay. 1610.
Days of Persistence, my TEDx talk, which is themed about persistence. And the day when I started my first ever podcast, means the release date of first ever English episode versus the day when I received Asia's Best Education Podcast Award in 2024. So precisely May
Wow.
17th, 2020 to September 2nd, 2024.
Wow. That's some good trivia information. Okay, the next word, naked.
People,
You know why I asked
yes.
you.
So 69 naked truths, and I want to be very, very blunt and open because naked is something like where somebody is not wearing anything. Similarly, can we make our mind naked so that we can see things as they are instead of seeing them as we perceive?
Great. Naveen, I will ask you a question about this a little later. But for the next one, now you have listened to thousands of voices across ages, cultures, fields, and lived experiences. And today, honestly, you're the voice of millions, for millions. But when the mic is off and when these doubts creep in, who is your guiding voice?
My own inner voice, which keeps me pushing always, saying that you are here for a purpose and you are going to create a legacy. A boy from small town can create wonders. That is what I constantly hear from myself, and that keeps me pushing forward. And I'm continuously thinking about different ways of doing things. How can I be better, and how can I make this world a better place to live? So my inner voice is my guiding voice. And of course, my father's upbringing has been significant, though he was not educated. And of course, he passed away long time ago, though I had very little time to spend with him and all. Passively, I learned a lot of things from him. So his blessings are also my guiding voice, along with my inner voice.
That's really nice to hear, Naveen. And since you brought it up, this was not on my list to ask you, but you said you're a boy from a small town, and there are people across India in small towns, smaller than small towns, listening to you. I mean, would you want to share a little bit of that part of your journey so that you can today motivate and inspire somebody listening to this episode, saying, if Naveen can do it, I can also do it.
Absolutely. That is what I keep telling people whenever I deliver keynote speeches or something. I talk at least a little bit about my background. I come from a small town called Janagam. Of course, after district reorganization in Telangana, which is one of the newest states in India, so that has become a district on its own. And my both my parents are coming from humble background. In fact, my father is a semi-literate, and my mom is almost illiterate. And however, they have given us high quality education because we had only two English medium schools in our town, and they sent us to Sri Aurobindo High School, which was established by Mr. Prabhakar Reddy. He was our principal, sir. I have interviewed him on my show, and I'm still in touch with him. And that particular
Yes.
quality education has really contributed a lot. And when I say boy from small town, like we did not have so much of guidance and exposure in terms of what to do next, because we are the first generation graduates as well as postgraduates. When I say we, me along with my three elder siblings and all, so we have to figure it out ourselves. And at that point in time, if at all I have prepared for IIT JEE, definitely I would have cracked it. But I've just prepared for MSET, and I was able to get some decent rank. And probably, if at all I had right guidance at right time, things would have been different. However, I don't want to stop there. That's why I kept on thinking about how do I excel, right? So in whichever field I get, I want to be the top. And that's how I scaled up the corporate ladder. And always there is a thought in my mind saying that what should I do to people like Naveen who are from small towns and all. So as part of that process, the guiding voice has been launched, and ever since I've been the guiding voice for many people, especially from rural places, remote parts of Andhra Pradesh and all. And they have many success stories which I've shared in my TEDx talk also. And this is a little bit about me. And since I've figured it out everything by myself, imagine a person like Naveen guiding somebody else. Don't you think their path will accelerate? Don't you think they'll make better progress than what Naveen did? So I keep telling people only one thing: dream big and chase. And if you read autobiographies of some well-established leaders and all, that is what we get to know. Of course, I'm very poor at reading autobiographies and all, but I tend to understand how people from modest backgrounds have made it big and all, right? So when somebody else can do it, why not me? For example, in the podcasting or the media production space, one of my role models is Oprah Winfrey. And look at her background, right? The
Yes.
kind of struggle she has undergone.
Yes.
Now, everybody across the world recognizes her. So why not Naveen be recognized by the world? And if Naveen can do it, why not people from Janagam or people from surrounding villages or people from remotest part of India or remotest part of the world can do? It all depends on believing in yourself and creating a legacy for yourself.
Absolutely, Naveen. I think you already said that your inner voice is your guiding voice, and now you're talking about self belief. They all go hand in hand, right? It's the confidence you have in your own dreams that could make it come true. So, thank you for sharing that part of you. Now, every meaningful journey has a beginning that is more personal, like what you shared, than public. And your TGV journey did not start in a studio or a boardroom. I've heard that it started in a traffic jam. So take us back to that car ride when a mentor told you to stop wasting your commute. Did the Naveen sitting in that traffic jam have any sense that he was about to start something this enduring, creating so much impact? Or was he simply trying to make better use of his time? What was the story there?
Yeah, in fact, it was just better utilization of time. And during my, I still remember, I don't remember the date exactly, but it was way back in 2007 8 time frame, where I was heading to Novotel in Hyderabad along with a senior colleague of mine, Mr. Sham Chorabudi. And that guy has opened Apple Podcast for the first time. I think it was in 2008 9, if I remember. I think yeah, after iPhone 3G was launched. And I asked him, I was very curious, what is this app all about? And he was listening to a podcast, What Great Leaders Do, if I remember correctly. And then that thought has really changed my mind. Yes, I think this is the best way to utilize time. And by that time, I did not have a personal car. In fact, I purchased my first car only in 2013. And after I purchased the car, in fact, the car that I purchased was a Ford Figo, and which itself is known for Bluetooth feature and all. And that came as a boon for me. And I used to listen to a lot of podcasts, audiobooks, and all, but never ever I thought I would start my own podcast. And it all happened due to, probably I would term it as a miracle or something, or maybe I'm destined to do that. But I never thought about podcast production, etc., until 2020, until COVID wave one has hit.
That's wonderful. I mean, it also inspires people that you don't have to wait for the perfect moment, and you don't know when somebody gives you just an idea or plants a seed in your head that could become the big forest for you, right? I mean, look where that one suggestion of listening to podcasts made you a podcaster. It's just amazing. I think you should just start where you are and see where it takes you. That's what I understand from your story.
Absolutely, you're right.
Okay, so you didn't just expand, yeah. So you didn't just expand TGV into six languages. I think, knowing you, Naveen, you did it very thoughtfully. When I looked at your launch calendar, a few dates really stood out to me. Like Hindi and Kannada, I think was launched on Republic Day,
Yeah,
Gujarati on National Unity Day.
yeah.
And, that feels very intentional, not accidental. Obviously, this was a conscious choice, right? And more broadly, was this your way of saying that wisdom and insight don't just belong to one language alone, but deserve to be heard in the mother tongue people live and think in? And the greater impact that it has on a society, especially like the ones we live in,
Yeah.
India, with multiple languages and so much diversity. So, how intentional was your whole planning for these languages?
That's a wonderful question. So I've answered it differently in different interviews, but this time I want to put it from a different tangent altogether. So recently I was talking to one of the new editorial team that I've onboarded and told them I have started my podcast with English, and then there was a pull from the community. Why don't you start in Telugu, Hindi? Likewise, expansion happened until six languages. Then he interrupted me and he said, Naveen, why do you think you are wasting time? Why don't you use artificial intelligence tools? Then I got a reflection saying that if at all I use artificial intelligence tools and all, barring the language translation mistakes, do I really get the originality of people that belong to that particular language? The people that speak that language? No, right? Then I felt whatever I did is
No.
right, because you have unsung heroes from Gujarat, you have unsung heroes from Karnataka, you have unsung heroes from Telangana, Andhra Pradesh, and you have unsung heroes from Maharashtra. We want to bring them all and share their wisdom in their own voice, in their own language. So that is how it got shaped into. And again, one more relatable thing. I'm inspired by majority of the countries within European region, South America, and all. in the way they respect their mother tongue. And
Absolutely.
of course, of course, I I don't hesitate to be very blunt. Indians, many Indians feel awkward to speak in native language, and I've observed that,
Absolutely.
especially the current generation. And when I say current generation, parents that belong to millennials or Gen Z, right? I've heard them saying, "Hey, why are you speaking in Telugu? Why are you speaking in Hindi? You have to speak only in English," right? Which I don't want that kind of culture to be taken forward. Because if you observe people from European Union or South America, they use their native language and they flaunt and they are proud about it, and they use English only for professional purposes. Why not we do the same thing, right? That's a blunt question. And in fact, I wanted to be the first person to take that particular initiative and encourage and create that particular community and bring together all the heroes who have done great things, and shed some limelight on them while inspiring the world. And this is not going to stop here. This is going to further expand, because my vision is big. I want to have the guiding voice in at least 4 to 5 more major Indian languages. Of course, I'm spending a lot of money, time, and efforts in terms of doing that, and people laugh at me. And the way I look at people is they're all 5 to 10 years behind me, and I'm a forward thinker. And one day will come wherein whoever is throwing all these comments, they will proudly say, Naveen is my friend, Naveen is my relative, Naveen is my junior, Naveen is my senior. Mark my words.
Yes, sir. I will not laugh at you. I am so, so proud of you. And I had the privilege of meeting you sometime back in Hyderabad. And you're such a warm, loving person. And I really wish one day we sit across each other and do an interview. Maybe we can interview each other. But that is one of the things that I will manifest between the guiding voice and Kavita. So, but okay, now that you're going to have a lot of people listening to this interview. Uh, what are some of the languages that you're going to start, because you don't know, your host could be listening to this and say, okay, you know what, I'm going to contact Naveen, I want to host the this language. So share a few languages you're looking for and let's make it happen for you.
Absolutely. So first and foremost is Malayalam is in the pipeline, and I have already identified one of the hosts who is really passionate about it. However,
Oh,
I'm not restricting to single host. We need to have at least 2 to 3 people so that they can back up each other. So Malayalam, Tamil, Punjabi are my main focus at this point in time. And as the time progresses, I would love to venture into Odia, Bengali. In fact, Bengali host is ready, just that we are planning to have the editorial team in place. So, whoever is watching or listening to this episode, other than the language that I've mentioned, if there is any other prominent Indian language which you are really fluent and you can support on me, feel free to reach out. And the entire world is waiting. Let us create that particular impact, and most importantly, leave a legacy that rest of our generations will be proud of.
absolutely. And it could not just a host. If you have a guest who you feel is making a difference to the world we live in, you can share that also with Naveen, and I'm sure they'll be featured. So, okay,
Absolutely.
Naveen. So now, yeah, next question. You have spanned the entire human spectrum from a 9-year-old child to a 90-year-old person. And that is a lifetime of difference, right, between the two ages. But I truly believe that, you know, the kind of questions that you ask when the recording stopped, you found some common thread between the two. So when you strip away the age, the titles, the decades, what is one truth you think that the 9-year-old knew just as well as the 90-year-old? And what has hosting these kind of diverse conversations across so many different professions and age groups taught you?
Yeah. So first I'll talk about the common thread. It is not just one but two. One is curiosity, second one is passion. So that is what I have noticed. And
Okay.
talking about the talking about the learnings, highly successful people are really humble and they make time for everything. I mean it. I come across certain guests whom I approach. They say I'm busy for 1 month, 2 months, and they ask me to follow up after 2 months. Again, I get the same response. Naveen, sorry, this time. So there are few people who defer that continuously, and I know it is for a reason, or probably they don't want to do it and they want to be nice with me. But going back to the people who are highly successful, they make time because I've hosted people like Ruben Gonzalez, who is the four-time Olympian, and Honorable Vice Chancellor of BITS Pilani, Professor Ram Gopal Rao. He readily agreed and he gave me time 2.5 months advance. Marsha Reynolds, who is the former president of International Coach Federation, and Mr. Abhijit Badri, who is a global thought leader, right? They are doing much
Yes.
bigger things. Still, they have time because they wanted to do it. So this is another thread which I have observed, and they're eager to share their knowledge and they're selfless. And at the same time, talking about some stories like Mira Shenai, George Abraham, these are real unsung heroes. Of course, they're coming into limelight now. If you look at George Abraham, who is the founder of Shanti Bhavan, there is a Netflix documentary which I came across after I interviewed him. And Mira Shenai
Wonderful.
received an award from President of India. The kind of impact that they are creating, they don't flaunt. They just focus only on impact. So they teach me how to be humble. They teach me how to be modest and how to do more. And every time I meet these kind of people, I always feel I am very small. I want to be there. So I can write an entire book in terms of the learnings that I have acquired from interacting with all the guests on my show, and especially these stalwarts that I mentioned about. And last but not the least, Dr. Radhakrishnan Pillai, author of Corporate Chanakya series. I never ever thought he would be so humble after earning so much of reputation across India, across the globe, selling world's bestsellers. And he's so nice and he's so receptive. I felt I should always be like these people, no matter how many bigger heights I reach. Right. So they are continuously reminding me, saying that if you are reaching that particular top position or pinnacle, it doesn't mean that your eyes should shift their place. Your eyes should be at the same place where you are, no matter where you go.
Ah, Naveen, that's a goosebump moment. You shared so beautifully about humility and being humble, and I feel that's in your DNA, and you don't even have to work that hard because I think any guest I've introduced to you, the first thing they may call me and say, "Oh my God, he's so nice," and that's become like your middle name, and you also got your fourth book ready now. You know what you're going to be writing about.
No, my fourth
Will you
book
do
I
that?
don't want to
I
reveal
think you
now.
should.
Because
Oh, so fourth book is also
I
now
start
getting.
yeah, fourth book, it will be a competition between thoughts that I'm having at this moment, right? So of course I started drafting something yesterday, but yeah, we'll
Oh,
park that question for maybe next milestone.
okay. Sure. Okay, that was beautiful. I think I loved all the examples you gave and the thoughts that you shared, and I completely resonate with you. And you answered this a little in the beginning. You know, one line that I love is deep listening changes the listener as much as the speaker. And like you said, you've listened deeply to hundreds of people, their journeys, their successes, their failures, and their choices. And you can't absorb that much wisdom from people without changing you in some way.
Yeah,
So, what is the side effect of all this listening to wisdom? Of course, you said, you've already picked up the skills like to be humble, to always be real, keep your eyes in the same direction. Um, but I still want to know, are there more side effects to all this listening? Has it made you calmer in your life? Has it made you hungrier? Or are you chasing more rainbows, more dreams because of the motivation that you receive from all these people?
yeah. As I said earlier, it is raising my bar very high. Like For example, when I went to Rex Karmveer Chakra Awards in the year 2024, I was thinking, oh my God, I'm the only Indian podcaster who has done in four languages. I'm a superman. But when I went there and started listening to people, I don't remember their names, but probably Ram Singh or somebody, I came across his story. He's from a rural place, very small village. And he has raised over 36 girl children who were abandoned by their parents. So stories like these, right, make me more hungrier, make me more thirstier, and make me prepared or prepare me to chase bigger and bigger and bigger dreams. So that is the side effect in a way. And in this entire process, I'm getting to know what I don't know, right? And most importantly, the definition of success, definition of failure has evolved over a period of time. Somebody might treat me as success, like, look, talking about the latest book, every other day I get a ping, looks like your book has become an international bestseller. And somebody might say, why are you doing podcasts? Are you getting money? Why do you want to do it? Why are you wasting your time? And in fact, there are a few former
Hmm.
colleagues of mine, and he pinged me on WhatsApp, not on WhatsApp, but on LinkedIn one day, and he said, looks like your company is really not monitoring your activities or something, but looks like you have ample time, and I don't understand why you are doing this. And
Wow.
I gave
Wow.
him a, I gave him a harsh reply, Mr. X. I thought you were very mature. Now I got to know about what are you up to. Anyways, thank you for your thoughts. Right. So
Wow.
this is this is how things have changed. And one day, probably now already that person might have started envying about me, about my journey, whatever it is. So these are certain things which come our way, and we need to be prepared for all these things and all. So side effects are there, but you need to turn those side effects also to amplify your journey to success.
Wow, thank you. And Naveen, since you brought it up about your, that somebody sent you a message like this on LinkedIn about your organization. So how does your organization, support you in this journey?
Yeah,
Because outside of work, this is a huge entity that you are,
yeah,
right, Naveen? And
yeah,
it's not a small thing, and it's not something that you can hide. Because
yeah.
I know a lot of people who are working in the corporate world want to do many things like this, but they feel their companies will not support them, and they might be fired or laid off or whatever. So do you have any insights into this?
Absolutely. So I'll not mention my company name now. Of course, people can look up to it in LinkedIn or wherever they'll find
Okay.
it. But I'll talk about my
Sure.
previous company, okay, which is ADP, because that is where my journey started during pandemic. So in the month of March, I happened to attend course by Vijay Gautam on podcast mastery, and I thought, yes, I need to do it. Then immediately, what I did is I sent a note to HR team in ADP saying that, hey, I want to start my podcast. I'm not going to use office equipment or office time or anything, and I'm not going to represent company identity or brand anywhere. Do you want me to go ahead? Then I got a go ahead. That is how it started. And I made sure that I did all the recordings only on weekends. And I never took that company's name anywhere. And even today also, if I go outside and deliver any talks, I represent my own brand, which is the guiding voice. Right. So
Okay.
that is how it started at ADP. And afterwards, the current company where I'm working, it's been little over 5 years that I joined this company. During the interview itself, I told them saying that I have a side hustle and which is not to do anything with my day job, and it is completely different, and I'm not going to talk or use any of these resources. Are you okay with it? I got a go ahead, and that is how I started working. And in fact, my organization is proud of my accomplishments. I've gifted my books to my senior leaders within the organization also, and I get a very good support because they know that
Wonderful.
I respect company's time and I don't misuse any of the privileges that are provided. And if I'm doing interviews, it is outside the office hours, maybe after 9 p.m. or the weekends or the day I apply for a leave or a holiday of that sort. And I'm being transparent. So being transparent and having that candid conversations will help people to start their side hustles, and there won't be any questions as long as we are trying to hide. If somebody gets to know about these things through other means, then it will become a problem. But if you are disclosing it to yourself and you are abiding to the compliance and regulatory requirements, I don't think it will be an issue.
I think one key word you use about not misusing, your office space for the work that your side hustle. I think that's where companies lose trust is because of that misuse of time, saying I'm working from home, but I'm doing something else. So I think that's a very key point that you brought up. Thank you for sharing that because I think that's something that many people listening might say, okay, I can also do something more than just doing the 9 to 5 job. So, and so, Naveen, another thing is, we talk about consistency all the time, and it's a great word, especially on LinkedIn, right? But in real life, uh, consistency becomes a little boring and sometimes painful. Sometimes you just want to say, you know what, forget it. But now you're at the 700th episode, um, and I know we don't see the part of life where you people have not downloaded enough, not listened. You get feedback. There's that silence. Take us to some moments in your 700 journey. Maybe it could have been episode 50 or 200. I don't know where you felt like saying, "Okay, I'm going to hit that delete button. I'm done. It's not worth it anymore." Did you ever face that, or you just said no, whatever it is, I'll keep going no matter what?
Yeah, I come across certain situations, okay, almost once in 3 days, once in 4 days, even today also, wherein, okay, I'm not getting anything in return except for impacting people. Should I continue doing that? And I always think, if you are concluding something, there should be a logical conclusion. If at all I'm giving up, I should announce it publicly. But honestly, I did not get bored in this
Hmm.
particular journey because every conversation that you are going to have is different. Everybody has a different perspective. That's why I told, when I mentioned about success, the definition has evolved over a period of time because by listening to people, by listening to various leaders across levels, across domains, across borders, and all. So I always keep thinking about, I'm sure I'm going to learn more. And eventually, universe has to really bend to somebody who shows consistency, right? That will happen. And that's why I don't give up. Of course, that thought comes in. However, again, some positive things also come up, like getting a high profile client pitching from a PR agency. And you must be aware, right? Nowadays, I get at least 2 to 3 pitchings from PR agencies across the globe featuring prominent authors. And recently, I was approached by JD Barker's PR agency and I interviewed him last week. So if you look at if you look at
Wow.
JD Barker, if you look at JD Barker's Wikipedia page, it is like almost like 3 to 4 page long, right? If Naveen had not started podcast, it would have been difficult to get an email reply for him. But Naveen made him sit and do a podcast with him, right? So these are some wonders which will again boost my energy. No, no, you are meant to do something else, and that keeps on going. So it's a cycle. Sometimes I feel low, but immediately I get some other thing which I really get motivated, and that keeps the spirit high up and all. And of course, in the last 5.5 years, I've had so many financial struggles. Even today, also, I'm having so many financial struggles in terms of keeping the platform up and running. Because now that I have outsourced editing part and maintaining this whole team of freelancers and all, it is not that easy. However, I'm not going to give up because I'm keeping 2026 as a breakthrough year for the platform and for my entire career trajectory as such, and it is bound to happen.
So, Naveen, I mean, there could be somebody listening thinking, how could we support the guiding voice? What can I do so that Naveen doesn't say this next time? So, any ideas? Like, I mean, do you want to collaborate? How do you want to make this very sustainable for you and profitable and create that impact? I mean, just something that I thought of. You have the platform. Maybe you should
Yeah,
just put it out there, and you just never know who reaches out to you, right?
absolutely. They can sponsor an episode, right? In terms of paying for the
Okay.
production cost, right? So that their brand also gets visibility. And typically, what we
Okay.
do is, as and when the interview is over, and if somebody's episode gets released, we send a note to them. If you wish to contribute to the platform, please find the PayPal link or UPI number. But out of 725 people plus that I interviewed, I got funding from three people. One person sent me $25, one person sent me $50, and one person sent me $100.
Oh my God. See, that itself will, sometimes be a deflating thing. Like I was saying, right? You suddenly like, okay, what? That is a shocking statistic for me, though. I would have thought that you would have received a lot more, but I think now that we have put this out in the universe, I think it's going to change now. I
Yeah.
have full faith in that.
And again, I don't want to defame anyone here, but I want to make this statement. People are greedy. I have come across those kind of profiles also. Like for example, somebody gets featured on my book. They don't want to buy that book, though they got featured. They want that book to be gifted. I've seen this extreme as well.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Okay, they
Wow.
don't want to buy it for themselves, and it hardly costs less than a pizza. And I told the same statement. If you look at
Wow.
some other companies, okay, who are just giving some XYZ award and they're charging 25,000, 50,000, or sometimes 1 lakh rupees, people are ready to pay. But when we are here to create that particular impact and showcase your profile, you are not ready to buy your book.
Okay, don't feature them next time. I don't know.
No,
Oh
that's
my
done.
God.
In fact, I had a lot
Anyways,
of plans, but I have trashed all the plans with that person.
wow, I am so shocked. But anyway, I'm glad you're sharing this with because everything looks like a when you're listening to a podcast and we hear the success stories, we think everything is so perfect. There is nothing behind the scenes that we should be aware of. And when you share stories like this, you know how hard this whole business is, right? And what are some of your silent partners in your life, whether it is habits, people, or beliefs that helped build this journey,
Mhm.
but rarely get any credit? It could
So,
be something your wife says to you, or it could be a friend or somebody. Do you have like a habit that keeps you going? These are I call them the invisible engines that nobody sees. But these are our cornerstones in our life that keep pushing us to move ahead.
yeah. See, to be honest, like if you look at me and my elder brother, right? So we all graduated from the same school, and he's now well off in the US and all. So we tend to have that particular thing in terms of how can we be better, right? How can we go to that particular next level? So that is one thing which is continuously there, and in fact, he also inspires me a lot in terms of getting into multiple ventures, and he gives his best. He works like 15, 16 hours a day, right? And apart from that, my father, as I told you, like he was from a very humble background, and the way he has built a reputation for himself. And my mom, again, though she's not educated, she gave quality education to all her children, like me and my three elder siblings. All of us are first generation grads and postgraduates, and in fact, I am aspiring to do my PhD also, right? And apart from that,
Wow.
my wife, because she's the one who trusted in me, though she had got better alliances during my engineering days after graduating from engineering and all. And though I was working in a small firm with very less salary and all, she had that particular belief, saying that, yeah, one day we'll will get there because she's aware of all my aspirations and all, right? And next, talking about my kids also, right? Like, I want to inspire the future generations of my family, both on maternal side and paternal side, so that they have to treat me as a role model and go to the next
Role
level
model.
than what I have done, right? For example, I keep always telling I want to be the first ever postgraduate PhD holder in my entire family, right? And I'm the first podcaster. I'm the first. I've done so many firsts in my life. I'm the first TEDx speaker, not just in my entire family, but if you talk about my college history or my work history, workplace history, and all. So I have so many firsts in things. So these are certain things which keep me going. And I should also thank people like you, right? And again, um, uh, I'm not trying to be exaggerating here, but you have been one of the greatest proponents of the platform. And I always keep telling to people, Kavitha has been a great guiding force, and she has been supporting me throughout the journey. Like, I think you might have introduced me to more than 100 people, right? And they all have very high regards to you, and you do that selflessly, right? So you and my entire core team, right? The TGV core team, Payal, Sangeeta, Basha, Pratibha, right? Sucha, and recent addition, Chenda, right? So all these people are really, really amazing. And Jagan Manta, Snehal contributed to Marathi platform. So they did not expect money while working with me, right? In fact, the amount that I pay to few language hosts and all is very, very negligible compared to what they might get otherwise. But they came because I'm of seeing my passion and they wanted to be part of this particular thing. So I really wanted to express my gratitude to the universe because bringing all these people together and creating such a impactful platform, right? I sometimes feel so destined and I'm so happy about how things have shaped up, right, in the last 5.5 years, the kind of connections that I have made. And of late, there are some silent heroes in my life who just keep on publishing about my book on their WhatsApp status. And somebody purchases book, they don't even tell me that they have purchased and they share it. So a lot of miracles have started happening and all, right? So when I see people supporting me, it always helps me dream big. Yes, I can do more. I can be more. I can create more.
Naveen, I'm a huge believer in manifestation. You met Neeta, and she's my guru. And, we end up attracting who we are. So if
Right.
all these people are there in your life, it's because of who you are. And honestly, I didn't know you that well, but somehow there was that, that you just talk to Navi and you feel that, that niceness just draws you in. And you know that, he doesn't have any wrong intention. And all he's trying to do is do something good in this universe, be better, motivate, inspire people. So it's very easy, Naveen, to be nice to you. And I think it's just who you are. You're the magnet who's attracting all this. And more big things are going to come. I hope after this episode, especially, a lot of things change. So, really, really, I felt like crying when I was listening to you. Such a touching, answer that you gave for this. So, wishing you the best. But let's continue. Um, Naveen, it's moving from this emotional thing to back to reality. You are a master of the digital world. Your voice is on the cloud, accessible from anywhere, and digital content is very fast. People listen, scroll, and forget.
Yeah.
But you got into writing books, and book is very different, right? It is heavier. It sits somewhere on a shelf. It is permanent.
Yeah.
um, so what made you feel you need to take these conversations that you're having, and freeze them in ink,
Yeah.
with inspiring lives? Because I
Yeah.
think it's a great idea which you took. And and I know a lot of people who are in the book felt so proud, so happy that they were in that book. So, was there a part of you that feared that, if you didn't put this in print, then people will forget? Or what was the reason that you got into this?
Yeah, this dates back to 2021. Okay, after podcast is released, and by that time my Telugu podcast was not on, and we shifted from our own apartment, which was a 2 BHK place, to a rented apartment, 3 BHK. And one fine day I received a book, okay, which is Master Mentors, and it was authored by Scott Miller himself, and he sent me a signed copy, and I was literally clueless. How does Scott Miller know about Naveen Samala, who is in Hyderabad? And you know who is Scott Miller? He was the chief marketing officer of Franklin Covey Leadership Institute. And he's such a big guy who hosts a podcast called On Leadership, and wherein people like Nick Uyik and others have been featured. If you talk about all the stalwarts of the world were on his show. And out of those stalwarts, he featured 30 of them and created these master mentors. Actually, that has formed a seed for the thought of publishing this TGV Inspiring Lives. And then I rang up Nasiha Samin, who was my co-author on first book, and I told her about this idea, and she did a bit of research on master mentors, and then she agreed. Yes, Naveen, let's do it. Then me, Nasiha, and my erstwhile partner Sudhakar, we all got into that, and it took about 9 to 10 months for us to write the entire thing, and we released it in December 2022. And initially, when I launched Volume 1, I was too ambitious and aggressive, and I thought everybody will like the book and read, let me publish in other languages and all. But I did not get much response to the book. I think roughly about 170 copies were sold in the span of first 1.5 2 months, and there was a agreement with the publisher saying that if you don't sell 200 copies within first 1.5 month, you have to buy remaining copies at the MRP. And in fact, I have burnt my hands going with the traditional publisher and all. But that has made me pause and reflect. If nobody is going to read, and there is no point in investing so much of money, and I stopped the idea of translating it into Hindi and Telugu. And later on, however, as and when I started interviewing more and more people, I came across some beautiful profiles. Then I thought, yes, let me continue with volume 2. And miraculously, at that point in time, Parul Gupta has reached out to me because she was a guest on my show. And one day she called me, Naveen, I'm bored of doing things. What's up with you? You have something always doing differently, and all. Then I said, Parul, I want to publish volume 2. And would you be interested in being a co author? And she said, Naveen, let me think about it. And next day she called and she said, I'm in. That is how volume 2 has started. And we released volume 2 in 2024, right? And at that point in time, I thought, okay, should I go with volume 3, volume 4? In fact, volume 3, I thought of doing with one person whom I did not name, right? Because of bad attitude and all, I dissolved that idea altogether. And I
Hmm.
thought, okay, if person that is getting featured itself is not going to buy the book, what is the point in publishing this book? Though this has lots of
Yeah.
inspiring stories and all. In fact, to be honest,
Hmm.
I have donated double the copies that I sold. Okay. So which means I
Wow.
might have easily spent more than 1 lakh rupees gifting these books. Okay. At various institutions, wherever I go and all. Because I strongly believe whatever you are putting in today, right? It should reach one right person hand. That's it.
Yes.
Then miracles will happen.
That's all. Yeah.
That's it. So for me, I'm doing it with right intent. What will I get if I sell one book? Hardly 30 rupees or 40 rupees. Right? But real person who reads it and draws inspiration, If at all they quote, probably it might have happened in my absence. Somebody might have already quoted saying that I read this book, I got inspiration and all. But that will turn into a blessing. You never know, their career trajectory or their life trajectory might change. Right? So this is all it evolved. And at
Absolutely.
one point in time, I felt, why should I focus on featuring profiles? Why can't I give something as a self-help book? That is how the idea of 69 Naked Truths originated 2.5 years ago. And I started putting on all things in black and white, whatever came to my mind. Because it is a book which is having loads of truths, all the 69 truths. And these truths are hard to digest. However, they'll make you comfortable up towards the end. Because we might have fallen trapped to certain offers in the market, or we might have burnt bridges, or we might have had bad relationship with money, which we might have learned the hard way. So I'm putting everything in black and white in this particular book. So this is how the journey started. And now this book is giving me immense confidence, because the way world is responding to it, right? And in fact, to be honest, the other day I delivered my my Toastmaster speech, wherein I spoke about the evolution of this particular book. The last 6 months, right? Universe was really pushing me. Naveen, you have to get it done this year, and that is how I worked hard. And Sangeeta partnered with me on this initiative. So I attended a talk by Bhavna Tour on this conscious choice. After interviewing her, she invited me to her workshop,
Yes.
and I saw that illustrations were good, and I shared the same idea to Sangeeta, let's have this kind of illustrations in our book, and she readily agreed. And she has also worked really hard on this particular book. And sometimes I used to sleep at 2 a.m., sometimes I slept at 3 a.m., because I've rushed towards the end, though all the concepts were written, like, to have been in the place for last 2.5 years and all. But towards the end, I gave this manuscript a complete life, and that's why it has come out so beautifully. And yes, I'm going to write many more books in future.
Wonderful. And did you ever feel, 69 Naked Truths, since it is so different, it is so much bolder than your other books,
Yes.
did you feel it's a risk being so unfiltered? Will people accept me as this version of Naveen? You're always a nice guy kind of person. What did you ever have those fears?
Honestly, no. But I'll tell you Sangeeta's thoughts. Sangeeta said, Naveen, you are a person who don't need this kind of gimmicks or something. Okay, putting a bold title.
Hmm.
You can put a regular title also, so that people who know you can read it. Then I said, Sangeeta, it is not a
Hmm.
marketing gimmick as such. It is giving a title which grabs people's attention, and it is projecting the content itself. Like, I'll
Absolutely.
tell you, like, 69 is a absolute choice, because people need that particular fancy thing which is different from the regular stuff. And in fact, me and my wife were having a conversation while I was thinking about the book title and all, and I asked her one question, like, do you want me to write 100 truths or 69 truths? Without a second thought, she said, go for 69.
So you were just
Okay.
sharing with us that your wife said go for 69 instead of the
Yes.
number 100.
Yeah. Yeah. Go for 69. And without a second thought, I thought, yes, let me go for it. And Sangeeta was concerned. Naveen, imagine if your mom is holding your book. Don't you feel bad? I said, no, because if my mom knows the intent also, she would not be hesitant. And I've
Yeah.
taken that bold step, and it worked. Of course, again,
I would have
what you
just,
see in the cover is in the book. It is not
yes.
at all a cheap
I've just,
gimmick to attract people.
no, I have just ordered the book, so it hasn't yet come. I wanted to get it before this, but it did. I just looked it up a little bit online, and I would have chosen 69 too because I was born in 1969. So that's a great number. That's
Wow.
what attracted me to the book. So, uh, so Great. So, I mean, yeah, it is a risk to it. I think people are liking this version of you, is what I hear, Naveen. And I think you should do a book tour, a book launch in Bangalore, and I'll be happy we can brainstorm on that. Let's do it.
Yes, this time for sure.
Yes, because this is a book which I feel has a lot more meaning and depth than the others. So, and people would want to know, what is this
Absolutely.
book about? So let's do it. Okay.
Yeah,
So, Naveen,
for sure.
you are a Lean Six Sigma master belt. Your professional DNA is programmed for zero defects, efficiency,
Yes,
and perfect
yes.
process and all that, right? But you are a creator on the other hand, and an entrepreneur, which is anything but that. It's messy, it's chaotic, it's full of defects, if you say. So what are some of the hardest habits, corporate habits, that you had to break to become a creator, or when you switch hats from one to another, is there some things you let go and say, okay, now I have to wear a different hat when I'm sitting here as Naveen behind the mic?
Okay. So I think I have to bring in my erstwhile partner Sudhakar's statement here, because every
Yes.
when we created this platform in the beginning and all, he used to tell only one thing: Naveen is a Six Sigma guy. Everything will be process oriented. In fact, that is what I have learned and I've carried forward and implementing here. And yesterday, I
Yes.
interviewed a person named Brad Hawkins. He is the CEO of SaferNet, and he has seen so many hardships in his own career, entrepreneurial journey, and all. He made one statement in the interview. Naveen, you are one of the most prepared podcaster that I've ever come across in my
Yes.
life. Right from the first email till the interview, flawless. Right. So since I'm a Six Sigma guy, I want to be things to be zero defect, and since I'm a lean guy, I want things to be efficient. Right. So in fact, I'm applying all the learnings from that particular thing here as well.
I have also heard that. I have, like you were saying, I've suggested so many names to you, and they say, Kavitha, you told me about him in the morning. He's already sent me the questions, and we are recording tomorrow. He's too quick. So I guess it's the truth. You're applying all your Six Sigma characteristics also into this. But there must be still some things that don't go well with you, right? I mean, you like things to happen fast, but uh, sometimes it doesn't. Does it make you restless?
Yeah, at times it does, because especially
Frustrating.
yeah, at times it does, especially when you don't receive your episodes on time by the editors, and sometimes they goof up, especially a high profile guest and all those things, and those create a little bit of uncomfortable discomfort. Those creates some sort of discomfort in me. And however, people are learning, and I tell them only one thing: don't repeat the same mistake twice, right? But team is also getting better. It's always there.
Okay. Okay. Wonderful. Okay, so you have interviewed so many people, leaders especially, right? And we talk. There are so many books on leadership, whatever it is. I want to know what are some of the traits of great leaders that you have picked up, which are across the board similar. Like already you spoke about humility as one of them, and has the definition of success and failure changed for you? Because l- most of the people who come on your show will talk about their struggles, their failures, and how they came up. So have you started looking at all these words differently?
Yes. So talking about leadership traits, right? So one thing what I have been following in my entire career, not just after starting podcasting, but in general, leadership is all about creating more people, more leaders like you, right? So that leadership is all about giving that particular confidence in them to be able to deliver more than their caliber, and to empower them, to help them find their true potential. That is leadership in my opinion. And in fact, I've been doing that in every activity that I do, be it podcasts, be it my Toastmasters journey, because of late, I started my district leadership journey in Toastmasters last year, and I kept only one goal for myself. By the soon after my term ends, one of the club members from my area should become an area director, right? Should replace me or should step up into that role. So then you are a true leader. But world has a different opinion. Few people think if I have 600,000 followers on LinkedIn, I'm a leader. No. If people feel comfortable talking to you, if people get that confidence saying that, yes, I have more potential, which I did not realize, but my leader made it, that person is the leader, right? And talking about success and failure, yes, success and failure definitions have evolved and they keep evolving. But right now, my success is my definition of success is simple. It's about creating the impact while making money so that you're comfortable, and most importantly, having that personal time with family without worrying about what is happening with your work, without worrying about what is happening with your show, whatever it is, right? That is success. And when it comes to failure, there is no concept as failure as such, because we have to keep pushing ourselves, right? In my opinion, stopping abruptly, that is a failure. Whereas if you keep going,
Give
success will surrender to you.
Absolutely. I said in my TEDx talk that every failure is a stepping stone towards success. It's just that as you grow older, you realize that when you connect the dots and you say, oh my gosh, then you become, okay, this didn't happen. Now what next? You start understanding that this is nothing but a stepping stone to another level of success. So great. Good, Naveen. So we've, really spoken about a lot of serious stuff. We started when it was bright outside. As you can see, it's gotten dark outside now. So let's shake up a little and ask you some fun questions.
Yeah.
Um, I have three rapid fire questions, Naveen, for you. And of course,
Mhm.
the rule is don't think, just answer. Is that
Okay.
okay?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely fine.
Okay. Yeah, if you have one gigantic billboard anywhere with anything on it, what would it say?
Dream big and chase. True dreams will never let you sleep.
True dreams will never let you sleep. Okay. That's also passion in a way. Then describe yourself in just one word.
Passionate.
Passionate. Last one. Actually, it's not the last one. I'm thinking of another one. What is one electronic gadget that doesn't exist yet, but you would love to see invent or be invented yourself?
So many of my guests talk about time machine and
Ah,
teleportation devices and all. But in my opinion, uh, having a device which doesn't require any cables, which can charge through air or something, right? That will save a lot of electronic waste. That would be my answer.
okay. And I was just thinking, if somebody wants to make a movie about Naveen Samala, and it'll be
Hmm.
a Telugu blockbuster, of course, who
Hmm.
should play the role of Naveen Samala?
I want to play myself.
I know you didn't expect. No, yeah, you might be too old by then. What if they decide 20 years later? Think of some hero that you
No, by that
would
time,
want.
some other young chap might come into the industry, right? Because even the heroes that are
Okay,
existing today, they might get old.
okay. But still, if you had to pick one person who's your hero in Telugu movies, who would it be?
In Telugu
Or okay, say
movies,
Hindi also, it doesn't matter.
okay, okay, okay. Interesting question, actually. Like, I need to think about it because I never thought about it. Um, Probably Rajkumar Rao.
Okay, very nice choice for you.
Yeah, yeah,
Perfect. He's such a method actor. He'll
yeah.
play your role very well. Okay, that's a good one. So and now we have all the listeners. Last 1 hour they've been listening to you, and if you had to offer just one golden nugget, okay, to the person listening who's aspiring to do well in their career, to build something really meaningful, what would
Hmm.
that be? What would your golden nugget be for this person?
Hmm. Excellent question. So we we don't know where we will be born, who our parents will be, who our friends will be. and who will be, what will be your identity and all. But on the other hand, you can choose to become what you are, provided you have that conviction. Just dream, and those dreams should be so scary enough, so big enough. They should not let you sleep.
Yeah.
Chase them and then create a legacy. That's it.
Wonderful. So the golden nugget has been planted. Um, uh, so Naveen, if is there anything that I should have asked you but didn't ask you, that you want to speak about? This is your chance to say your bit to your audience.
Nothing as such, but one appeal to people. Okay, again, I don't mind admitting because I'm still one of the underrated podcasters in India, though creating global impact. Please support me and my work. Tune into one full episode, and if you think it is useless, tell me. I'm going to correct it. But just don't go by the packaging or something. Of course, we have been improving a lot, and many more good things are going to come. But please show some love by spreading message about my podcast, about my books, because I'm doing with a true intent of creating positive impact. So please support me.
Surely, I think that's a great message to leave the audience. Now, finally, for 700 episodes, you have held the mic, you have been the driver, but today you had to let go of the wheel and give it to someone like me. How did it feel to be hosted on your own journey?
I love this conversation, and I was hoping to have you for my 500th episode itself, but it did not happen. And I'm glad I did this with you because I don't think there is any other person who deserves this kind of thing better than you. So thank you. And really, your questions were thoughtful, and I did not look into the questions because I want to be spontaneous. I
Yes.
want to test my own oratory skills and my thought process. I hope I did justice to the questions.
Absolutely. And I actually, to tell the listeners, I actually told Naveen, do you want me to send you the questions that I have thought of? And he said, no, just ask me. And I thought that was wonderful. Even for me, listening to your answers to these questions, it was so real, Naveen. And I really thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to interview you today. Somehow or the other, I made it on the guiding voice. Even though I came in as a interviewer versus a speaker today, I've enjoyed this journey. And thank you for trusting me with your story. It's rare to see a person, who holds space for others, finally take up that space himself. And I was so proud of you listening to you. Honestly, I had goosebumps in so many of your answers. Friends who are watching this brings us to the close of the 700th episode of The Guiding Voice. It's not easy to do this. You heard Naveen's story. If you think you have a way of supporting him any which way, do connect with him. 700 conversations, countless hours of wisdom, and one relentless mission. If Naveen's journey of persistence resonated with you, I have a request. Don't just subscribe. Act on one piece of wisdom you heard today and make a difference to yourself. And in the spirit of growing this community that he's trying to build, share this milestone episode with three people or more who are building something of their own and you feel these answers could make a difference to them. And as Naveen has reminded us, for 700 episodes, let's make the world a better place to live in by spreading knowledge and wisdom. And this is Kavitha Garla signing off. Thank you so much for being a part of the Guiding Voice community. Until next time, take care and stay inspired. And Naveen, thank you again for this time that you have spent with me on your own show.
Pleasure is mine, and thank you so much for driving this so wonderfully. So, thank you guys. See you all in the next episode with another amazing guest.